Our Catechism, Lord's Day, number 36, covers the Third Commandment in questions 99 and 100. And as usual, I will read the question, and together we will respond with the answer. Question 99, what is required in the Third Commandment? That we must not be true or false, nor by any unreasonableness, nothing abuse the name of God, nor even by silence and conveyance be partakers of these horrible sins and others, and to summary that we use the holy name of God in no other way than with fear and reverence, so that he might rightly confessed and worshipped by us, and be glorified in all the words and works. Is profaning of God's name by swearing and cursing so grievous a sin that his wrath is kindled against those also who do not help as much as they can to hinder and forbid it? Yes, truly, for no sin is greater and more provoking to God than profaning his name. Thereby he was commanded by death. One of the references actually that pertains to both questions is Leviticus 24 and verses 10 through 16. Now the son of an Israelite woman, whose father was an Egyptian, went out among the children of Israel, and this Israelite woman's son and man of Israel fought each other in the camp. And the Israelite woman's son blasphemed the name of the Lord and cursed. And so they brought him to Moses. His mother's name was Shulamite, the daughter of Dibri, of the tribe of Dan. Then they put him in custody, that the mind of the Lord might be shown to them. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, take outside the camp him who has cursed. Then let all who heard him lay their hands on his head, and let all of the congregation stone him. Then you shall speak to the children of Israel, saying, whoever curses his God shall bear his sin, and whoever blasphemes the name of the Lord shall surely be put to death. All the congregation shall certainly stone him, the stranger as well as him who is born in the land. When he blasphemes the name of the Lord, he shall be put to death. And a couple other passages, Leviticus 19:12, which is the initial requirement, and you shall not swear by my name falsely, nor shall you profane the name of the Lord your God. I am the Lord. And regarding oaths, which are also included in this topic, is Matthew 5:23, but let your yes be yes, your no, no, for whatever is more than these is from the evil one. James 5:12, but above all, my brethren, do not swear neither by heaven or by earth or by any other oath, but let your yes be yes, your no, no, lest you fall in judgment. And then we have some verses that speak more in general to a confession of the truth, particularly as it pertains to God. Matthew 10:32, therefore whoever confesses me before men, him I will also confess before my Father who is in heaven. And then 1 Timothy 2:8, which says, I desire therefore that men pray everywhere, lifting up holy hands without wrath and doubting. And then finally, from Colossians 3:16 and 17, let the word of Christ in you richly dwell in you richly in all wisdom, teaching and admonishment, admonishing one another, I can't read this, one another in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing with grace in your heart to the Lord, and whatever you do in word or deed, do all in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father through him. So this passage's commandment is on the one hand, it seems, particularly in today's day and age of gab, which we all have the potential to do, we like to talk. We like to speak to one another. We like to speak to those we work with. We like to speak with those that are neighbors, whether they're believers or unbelievers. We like to speak to a lot of people. And as we speak, we are given a command here that our speech is to be honoring to God in any and everything that we say, and that we are not to use God's name in any sort of slight or irreverent manner. We're to be clear that when we speak God's name, that we that even our words, in a sense, have a character of honoring God, of acknowledging who God is, acknowledging who we are not, and acknowledging our dependence upon God, and acknowledging that God, in fact, is the one who manages everything that we see, hear, feel, sense, observe, whether it be distant stars and planets and galaxies, or whether it be, again, something of what's happening next door. And we're to be careful with our words. And we have this picture, particularly in Leviticus, where somebody cursed God. And it doesn't give us the details of what those actual words were in terms of how they said it or how they spoke it, but it was clearly a curse against God, and it was clear to those who were around that heard it. And the result was the man was taken before Moses and, in a sense, given somewhat of a trial, but there wasn't a whole lot of need for an extended trial because there was quite a few people that were standing around when it was said. So the witnesses were plenty. The man was guilty. And the sentence, if you would, was as God directed through Moses, to take the man out and have him stoned to death. But the stoning was not by, in the old westerns with you had the one guy who was the hangman, and he pulled the lever that released. But rather, it's a congregation. It's a whole congregation. It's to pick up stones and to join in the judgment that was being made. So in joining that judgment, they were agreeing with God regarding the judgment that God made. Again, through Moses. But nonetheless, it's God's judgment that's being delivered. And so it's pretty serious. It's a serious thing to take the name of the Lord in vain and to curse or to swear. And oftentimes our swearing or our oaths are actually citing God. And if we acknowledge that we're always before God, our lives are lived out before God, and we say, we make an oath, God hears it. And because we made it, we're obligated to that oath. And the Scriptures speak quite a bit on that. I know it's a topic that has been addressed a number of times in the life of our congregation. But it's important to note that these things are important, that it's not just a matter of how we speak about God in terms of whether we use his name sort of just off the cuff, as we see often done in society, and even in the media now, it's totally acceptable. I think Pastor Gordon gave us an example of that in terms of again, how people have little abbreviations now that they can use to express God's name in a way that is truly not honoring him. It's an off-the-cuff kind of comment. And the comment isn't the issue. The issue is their disregard for the one whose name they're using. They're failing to comprehend who God is, what he's done, what he's accomplished, and what his character is. And so what we are called to here is in that all of our speech, regardless of where we are, in the church, out the church, at work, at play, if that's a right way to say it, we're required to have a consciousness of God in terms of who he is, and we are to honor him even in our speech.